First of all, in our project, the file that we're going to be reading, our CD catalog, each entry is referred to as CD. So that needs to be the name of our class that is going to read those entities. So CD in uppercase, just like they have it. I'm not going to show you the rest of it because that's part of your assignment. All right, so here I'm going to run this program right now. I do not have a file, an XML file in my folder, so I should get an error to that effect when I try to run it. Yep, so file not found. So that makes sense. I don't have my file in my folder where I need it. So I'm going to stop running and I'm going to create the file the way we did in class. So I'm going to look at my folder in File Explorer, drill down into my bin debug release folder, and then create a new text document, cds.xml, and I'm going to delete the .text. And yes, I do want to change the file extension. Now I've got my file created. It's empty though. So I'm going to open it with Notepad and I want to copy the information from the W3 schools file into this file. Now when I open the W3 schools file, I am getting this message about style information missing. So I'm going to right click and choose View Page Source so that that information is not missing. And there it is, my XML information. So now I can Control A and Control C to copy all of that XML data and Control V to paste it into my XML file for my project. Now, if I go up to the top, I do notice that there's a blank line at the top, but I don't know if that matters. So I'm going to save my file and try running my program. Now this time, when I click my button, I do get an error again, but it's a little different. It says that there was an unexpected XML declaration. The XML declaration must be the first node in the document and no white space characters are allowed to appear before it. White space is blank, so it doesn't like that blank line. So I'm going to go back to my file. Let me get all these extras closed. Back to our file. And edit it again. And this time I'm going to delete that blank line because it obviously did not like that. And I'm going to save. So let's try running again. See if that makes things happier. Well, it's a little different, isn't it? It says that there is an error in the XML document. It doesn't know what to do with catalog. It says something was unexpected. So I'm going to stop running. I know my code is good, so I know my problem has to be within the XML file. My code is just too good. And I remember that we had the XML file from the class example loaded to Teams. So I want to go take a look at that XML file. For my classes that have meetings, it's saved under our meetings folder. But for the online class, of course, it's in our general file section. And we have our lesson 10 code. I'm going to look at this people.xml. And I'm looking at this header information because it seems to be that there's something wrong with mine. Now I see that when I compare the two, that the version generated from C# that we have on Teams does not contain this encoding information. So I'm going to delete that out. And I'm going to save. And I'm going to try to run this again. Let's see if it changes our messages at all. Not really, did it? So even though that first entry, our XML identifier, was a little different, it didn't really have an impact on our problem. So I'm going to stop running and look at my notepad file again. And in Teams, I notice that the file has a second line on its root node. So for this file, our root node is array of person, and it has all this identifying information. So I'm going to copy that data and place that after our root entry, and then save. Now I do notice that our example had this output that does contain the name of our class, and this example does not. So let's see if that matters. Apparently. So we have catalog, still doesn't like that. So I'm going to make that final change, and I'll say array of CD, because that would be most closely matching what our persons file had, or that array of person. Array of CD. Let's save that. And we'll try to run again. Still getting an error. Everything that I can see is the same as the file that we were working with before. So I'll try one last thing. On my file menu, I'll choose save as, and I'm going to make sure my encoding is set to UTF-8, and it seems like I've seen this UTF-8 with bomb somewhere, but I'm just going to leave it UTF-8, and I'm going to make this file name CDs 8 and save it. And let's try that before we do anything else. Still doesn't like it. So I'm going to show you the only thing that seems to have worked. On Teams, I'm going to download this file. So I will return to viewing the files and check the people.xml and download it. And then I'm going to copy that from my downloads folder. So I have my people.xml. Now I want to edit this file, but I want to be able to paste all of my CD data into it. So I'm going to edit my CD's XML file first. And I could just be going back to the W3 Schools website to do this. Either is fine. And I'm going to select all of the data for all of the CD entities and copy. Now in our people.xml, I'm going to edit it. And I'm going to delete out the people that are left over. And I'll make this say array of CD. And then I'm going to paste all of that data. So now all of our CD information is pasted in here in this people.xml file. So I'm going to save it. And I'm going to change my code to use that file. And run. And now we're able to read the XML file. So what does that tell us? It tells us that there must be some sort of unprintable control code on this header file that we're not being able to copy correctly. So I don't know if it doesn't copy and paste correctly or if we're doing something to it, but this is the only way I've found to consistently create the file where it's in a readable format. So what was supposed to be actually a fairly simple assignment ended up being a giant tutorial for you in encoding in non-displayable characters. Remember, this was a great opportunity because it's really hard to create an activity that involves non-displayable characters, but every once in a while you can get one by accident. So if you notice anything or encounter any other results, I'd love to hear from you as we continue developing our knowledge. A couple of things that we have found. This must be the name of our class. Each property in our class must be named as these nodes are named. And this root node seems to need to include the name of the CD entity also. So those are not things that we have run across in documentation. These are things that we're learning from experimentation. And hopefully you'll take this knowledge and always remember that there could be a chance that you don't see something. So I hope you take that to heart and have a great day.